setup looking? Shalom, shalom aleichem, shalom, shalom aleichem, hine matov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad. 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 Hine matov, hine matov, yalalai, yalalai, yalalai. Hine matov, hine matov, yalalai, yalalai, yalalai. Hine matov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad.
Hine matov u'manayim. How good it is for us to be together as one holy community on this Erev Simchat Torah. I am so excited to be here with all of you, and I am so grateful to Ronnie and Norm Greenberg for leading the musical prayer of our service tonight. And so here we are. This is, if you're keeping track, this is it. This is the last of like the big holidays in the fall. And what a wonderful night for us to be able to be together to mark the end of the cycle of Torah, which in so many ways is like the cycle of life, and to begin anew. And also that what we do on this festival of Simchat Torah is we also remember, and we will have Yizkor, remembrance, while we are here together tonight. To begin, to bring us into the festive day, which begins with the festive night of Simchat Torah, I'd like to invite Mickey and Sherwin Keeps to the bima. And we will let the light of the candles guide us as we finish this cycle of Torah and shine light into the new cycle of Torah that will begin this Shabbat with Breshit. You will find the blessing for the candle lighting on page 384. Page 384. You can take your next bath. It's okay. Okay. And then, so you'll say you'll do this.
Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel yom tov. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who hallows us with mitzvot, commanding us to kindle the light of Shabbat
On Friday.
and
And this festival.
this festival.
Amen. Amen. Thank
Okay.
you so much.
Mhm.
We need to write a letter to the editor of this prayer book to make it just a little easier to read. Thank you very much. Let us continue our service on page 387. And let us read the prayer together at the top of the page, and we will take note on the indented section. We will read the last of those 4 lines for this holiday. Let us read together. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, creator of the fruit of the vine. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who has chosen us from among the peoples, excited us by hallowing us with mitzvot. In your love, Adonai, our God, you have given us feasts of gladness and seasons of joy, this festival of Simchat Torah, the season of rejoicing, a sacred occasion, a remembrance of the exodus from Egypt. For you have chosen us from all the peoples and consecrated us to your service and given us the festivals, a time of gladness and joy. Praise to you, Adonai, who sanctifies Israel and the festivals.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו בזמן הזה. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו בזמן הזה.
Let us continue on page 389. And tonight, this whole night is about the Torah. And let us read together the prayer at the bottom of the page. May our eyes sparkle with the light of Torah and our ears hear the music of its words. May the space between each letter of the scrolls bring warmth and comfort to our soul. May the syllables draw holiness from our heart, and may this holiness be gentle and soothing to us and to all of God's creatures. Amen. Let us continue now on page 394. Page 394. Let us please rise for the call to worship, the Baruch Hu. Yai la lai 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 lai. Yai la lai 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 lai. Yai la lai 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 lai. Yai la lai 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 lai. Yai la lai 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 lai. Yai la lai 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 lai. Yai la lai 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 lai. Yai la lai 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 lai. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach. HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed. HaMevorach, HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed. Please be seated. We are now on the bottom of page 397. Turn Torah and keep turning it, for everything can be found in it. Keep your eyes attached to it. Spend your lifetime in its study. Never budge from it, for there is no way of life better than this. Let us turn the page to 399. And let us read together at the bottom of the page. We'll read the English prayer at the bottom of the page and then finish with the blessing at the bottom of 398. Together, source of life, every year you plant within us a new tree of life. May it be your will that this year our Torah blossoms with kindness and not cruelty, wisdom and not foolishness, awareness and not thoughtlessness. May you teach us a Torah of love that will nourish us in every season. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Israel. Please rise as you are able for Shema. Shema Israel, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed. You may be seated. Let us continue on the next page, 402. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך וכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצטווך היום על לבבך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בעיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתיכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת. In a moment, we will continue on page 468. Page 468, and we will have say the Amidah, the standing prayer, the prayer of blessing. And I'd like to note a couple of things. So tonight is that night of the year that you cannot avoid seeing and understanding that we are moving from one place in the cycle to a new place in the cycle, and that is the cycle of Torah reading. Also on this holiday of Simchat Torah, we also make another change that is keeping within a different cycle, and this is the cycle of the seasons. And so beginning tonight with this Amidah, we will change, let's see where we'll find it, on page 472. Keep your finger on 468. If you jump ahead to page 472, you will see that for Simchat Torah, we will say Mashiv Haruach u'Morid Hagashem instead of Morid Hatal. And that is very simply because we are now beginning we are now blessing the fact that rain is falling, and the winds, the winds of the storms that carry the rain to us are on their way to us. And that is because pretty much this time of year, like clockwork in the land of Israel, this is the time when it began to rain. And somehow that happens, even though the holiday can be like a whole, month off by our Gregorian calendar. Still, the season generally seems to be beginning with, after Sukkot, beginning with Simchat Torah, we come into the more rainy time of the year. So for us tonight, we will recognize this change in the season. And I wanted to point that out so you'll be ready to say maybe a prayer that's grown a little tiny bit less familiar to you over these last several months. So as we begin the Amidah, I'd like you to think about something you have learned from Torah, either the reading of Torah, the 5 books of Moses, or Haftorah that you hear on Shabbat, or let's broaden that to anything in our Jewish tradition, the teaching that has meant something to you in 5781 and now as we go into 5782. I'd like you to think about something that you remember, that you learn, that you're grateful for, and use that gratitude as the basis of your Amidah prayer. Take a moment in reflection of what you've learned this year. Please rise as you are able.
Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi agi tehilatecha. Adonai, open my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, ve'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Kol Mel Chasadim Tovim, ve'Konei Hakol, ve'Zocher Chasdei Avot v'Imahot, u'mevii gula livnei v'nehem, leman shemo be'ahava, Melech Ozeh u'Moshia u'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham ve'Ezrat Sarah. Atah gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechaye hakoat harav lehoshia, Mashiv haruach u'morid hagashem. Mechalkel chayim bechesed, Mechaye hakol berachamim rabim, Somech noflim verofech olim, Umatir asurim, Umekayem emunato, Lishenei afar, Michamocha ba'al gevurot, Umidom elach, Melech memit u'mechaye u'matzmiach Yeshua v'ne'eman atah l'chayot hakol. Baruch atah Adonai mechaye hakol. Let us continue on the left-hand side of the page and let us read together in English. Remember those whose hearts poured out to you like water, who trusted that the journey would lead to you. For Abraham and Sarah's faith, do not withhold water. Remember that one chosen for her words, please take some water. And remember the one whose blood was almost spilled like water. For Rebekah and Isaac's righteousness, grant water. Remember how Jacob crossed the river to wrestle in the waters of his conscience. Recall the sisters' tears, their waters of birth, their tents of peace. For blessing and not for curse, for life and not death, for abundance, not want. We continue now on page 478. Let us read together at the bottom of the page. You have chosen us in love and favor, by making us holy through your mitzvot and drawing us close to your service, that through us your great and holy name may become known in all the earth. In your love, Adonai, our God, you have given us feasts of gladness and seasons of joy, this festival of Simchat Torah, our season of rejoicing, to unite in worship and to recall the Exodus from Egypt. Let us turn now to page 480. And let us read in the English. Our God, at the bottom of the page, our God and God of our ancestors, be mindful of your people Israel and recall our merit for good and grace, and in loving kindness and compassion for life and peace on this festival of Simchat Torah. Zochrenu Adonai Eloheinu v'lo tova. Amen. Ufkodenu vo livracha. Amen. V'hoshienu vo l'chaim. Amen. This day remembers us for well-being. Amen. This day bless us with your nearness. Amen. This day help us to a fuller life. Let us now continue in silent prayer, and you may be seated when you are finished. We continue on page 488.
Shalom Rava Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. 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 Ki atahu melech gadol lechol hashalom. Ki atahu melech gadol lechol hashalom. Shalom Rava Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rava Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam.
Amen. Thank you. And so now we've come to the moment that we kind of expect to come to when we arrive for services for communal prayer and Simchat Torah. We will, in just a moment, be taking our 5 Sifrei Torah, our Torah scrolls, out from the ark and bring them into the community. The only time in the whole year when we actually have all of our Torah scrolls, at least the ones that live in this sanctuary, out and in the community at the same moment.
And we will have an opportunity to embrace the Torah, to quite literally, actually, to express, feel the joy that we have, knowing that Torah is there for us each and every moment of this year, and we recognize that especially so on this night when we complete the reading of the book of Deuteronomy, and then begin the reading of the book of Genesis. So in case, it's been a little while since we've gotten to do this like in person. Last year we had a lovely experience on Zoom because that's what we could do. And tonight we can do this. So in case it's been a while, what's going to happen is in a moment, I will ask some four folks to come up to the bima, and we will begin the Torah service on page 494. Okay, so we will have a few prayers on pages 494 and 96. And then we will have an opportunity, hakafah is the word. Basically, it is a joyous procession with our Torah scrolls. So each and every one of you of substantial physical stature to hold on to a Torah scroll will have an opportunity to hold the Torah and to dance with the Torah. We have some Torahs that we can have for our youngest folks who aren't quite ready to hold the big Torah yet. So everybody will have something, and we'll have an opportunity to dance with the Torah. And then when it's time, and you'll know when, you'll give it to somebody else who will do the same thing. Okay, so we'll do that for a little while, and then we're going to have an opportunity to see to see a substantial portion of the Torah scroll unrolled. So we will begin making our way to the back tables after a while, and I'll tell you when, and then we will unroll two Torah scrolls, and then we will have an opportunity to hear readings from Deuteronomy, and then a reading from the book of Genesis, and then we'll have an opportunity to look at the Torah and talk a little bit about it and see what people notice and see what questions people have. So that's what's coming. All right, but now we will continue on page 494. And now I'd like to invite John, Ron, Jay, Denny, and Micah to the bima. Please rise as you are able. So we're going to wait a moment. We're going to wait a minute. I don't know or not. Yerushalayim Baruch Shenatan Torah. You burned it. Baruch Shenatan Torah. Udavar Adonai Mirushalayim. It's a good side. All right.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu.
All right.
Adonai
Echad. We'll turn around. Gadlul Adonai iti uneromema shemo yakdav. Yeah. We can hakafah.
Yeah, right in, they're going. Hard to see through the podium. Adonai Hagidula v'Hagivura v'Hatiferet v'Hanetza v'Ravot Ki Chol b'Shamayim u'Va'aretz Ki Chol b'Shamayim u'Va'aretz
Do you want a Torah? There you go. So you know what you got to do? Go follow your dad. Would you like a Torah? All right. Would you like a Torah?
Sure. Would you like a Torah? Actually, you can do the big one. You can do the big one. Would you like a Torah? Take your pick. Well, you can't yet. After your bar mitzvah, you can. Would you like one of these? Okay. So go follow them. Okay, that's your job. All right.
Ashlosha Devarim, Ashlosha Devarim,
Ashlosha Devarim, Haolam, Omer. Ashlosha Devarim, Ashlosha Devarim. Deuteronomy. Ashlosha Devarim, Haolam, Omer.
Al HaTorah
ve'ha'avodah ve'atimlut hasidim. HaTorah ve'al ha'avodah ve'atimlut hasidim. Romenu Adonai Eloheinu ve'ishtakavu le'har kosho. Oh, we got the big one. Adonai, you okay? Ve'inu ve'ishtakavu le'har kosho. Ki kadosh, yeah. Eloheinu romemu. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu Adonai Eloheinu ve'ishtakavu le'har kosho. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu ve'ishtakavu le'har kosho. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu. Whoa, look at you. Awesome, Matthew. Hallelujah. 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 Not yet. Oh, that one? Well, you don't have to. I'll do it. All right. Hallelujah. 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 I'm good. You done one yet? Very, very small. This is lighter than it looks, but I'll take you at your word. Yes. Okay, this one is Genesis, so it should go on that end. Why don't you set that down there? Kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu ve'ishtakavu. You, sir, have Deuteronomy, and so if you can take that and lay it on that end of the table, that would be great. Thank you. Yeah, we're going to go. Let's start heading back to the ark.
Eloheinu Ramemu. Ki, Kadosh Adonai Eloheinu Ramemu.
Yep.
Shlosha Devarim. Shlosha Devarim. Shlosha Devarim. Haolam Omed. Shlosha Devarim. Shlosha Devarim. Shlosha Devarim. Haolam Omed. Al HaTorah,
Okay.
Al HaAvodah, Ve'al Milut HaSadim. Al HaTorah, Ve'al HaAvodah, Ve'al Milut HaSadim. Al Shlosha Devarim, Al Shlosha Devarim, Al Shlosha
Okay, we're good.
Shlosha Devarim.
Great. You get that first. Thank you. Thank you.
Torah Sheli, Torah li, Torah li, Torah Sheli, Torah Sheli.
Where was this roll to? Okay, it wasn't the one we thought it was. Thank you. All right, we'll get there. Excuse me, sir. Okay. This is Devarim. Devarim starting here. So the end is closer to that end. Then we're flipped. So how far are we from, does it? Okay, and where are you now? Devarim. There you go. All right, good. So we'll go this way. Okay. Ron. Dr. Friedman, can you help me with this Torah scroll? So we're at Devarim.
Where do you want to go?
We need to get to Genesis.
Oh, okay. So we need to go like this.
Yeah, so it's starting Devarim here, yeah. So, yeah.
On Leah's picture there, you highlight, will you hover the mouse, and then Pam was just going, "Yeesh."
She's got a skill
Yeah, Pam does.
that I don't have yet. Okay. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Pam, we need your skills.
She's fully
We're
consumed.
trying to go all the way.
We're trying to go to Genesis,
The
Bereshit.
beginning here,
Yeah,
right? No, the other way.
The other way.
Hold it like this.
the other way.
No, one on each side.
All
No, like this. Hold it like this.
So now only that.
There you go. You need to, yeah.
Do I hold it still?
I will press it with your hands. Yeah. Is there another door that's full?
Yeah, go all the way back.
There's the Shema, if anybody wants to see it real quick.
Sammy, you want to do the Shema?
Hey, we want to see the
Yes.
Shema?
Yes.
We're at the Shema.
Come on this side.
Right here.
And these are the 10 Commandments.
Low, low, low.
Some of them.
Part of the 10.
So here, low.
Yeah.
The low, the low. The 10 Commandments. And the Shema, Israel, Adonai Elohim. Okay.
You can like go on.
Yes, keep going.
We're making our way to Bereshit.
You got a long way to go, guys. Can I do it?
Yeah, that's what I'm learning.
Don't give her too much.
Okay.
Go, Pam, go. Go, Pam, go.
Anybody wants to help me? that'd be okay.
Oh, priestly
Here's the
benediction.
Okay.
priestly benediction.
Yevarecha Adonai. There we go.
All right, keep going. Yeah, here's the beginning.
You guys get done.
There's a book of Numbers right here.
We'll take it.
Now we're at the end.
Okay, what's this?
You're just sitting on some random churches like, dude, I have to make it.
We're at Leviticus.
So here we are. This is Exodus. So we're going to look for the commandments. We're going to look for the Song of the Sea. Low. So here we are, the 10 Commandments right here. Okay, right here. Here is where Micha Mocha is.
Prince of Egypt is right here.
Yeah. This is the beginning of Exodus. So we're getting to the end of Genesis, which is a long book. What a pretty Torah. This one's pretty easy to read.
It is old. You want to take a guess at how old it is?
How old, do you know?
I do.
Oh, like 500 years old.
This one is. Yeah.
I can tell by the color of the paper.
Oh, yeah. All right.
That could have been
We're good.
terrible.
So can you, would you hold this? Thank you. And
That would have been terrible.
here.
Then they guess what? No more Torah.
Yeah.
The Holocaust scroll was totally fire.
Excuse me, George. Okay. How'd that happen? Why would they even throw it? Hmm.
But we live and learn from that.
Yeah.
Are we going to change it?
From here. Yes.
How cool is it? Is it like?
No,
Okay.
the last end of beginning of the week.
All right. Now that now we've had our tour of the Torah scroll with our tour guides, and we are now going to have an opportunity to have the experience of finishing the book of Devarim, the book of Deuteronomy, and beginning the book of Genesis. And so first, I would like to call our Ba'alei Koreh, our Torah readers, who will be honoring us tonight by either finishing or beginning, respectively. So reading the end of the book of Deuteronomy will be Pam Friedman, and reading the beginning of the book of Genesis, Bereshit, will be Andrew Bosell. Andrew, you're going to be reading from here. Oh, if you need this is here. You know, yeah. So, okay. And so anybody who's got a prayer book, don't go get it. Stay here if you don't have yours. Anyone's got a prayer book, we will continue on page 498. Page 498 with the blessing for the reading of Torah. Are readers ready?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Baruch Hu et Adonai Hamborach. Baruch Adonai Baruch Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Adonai Baruch Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam Asher Bachar Banu Mikol Ha'amim V'natan Lanu et Torato. Baruch Ata Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen. מתחת צרות עולם ויגרש מפניך איה ויאמר השמי וישכון ישראל בתחת עין יעקב אל ארץ הגן ותירש אף שמע ירפתה אשריך ישראל מחמוך אם נושע באדוני מגן עזרך ואשר חרב גאוותך
ויחשוי וחלך ואתה על במותימו לא תדרוך. ויעל משה מערבות מואב ההר נבו ראש הפסגה אשר על פני יריחו. ויראהו אדוני את כל הארץ את הגלעד עד דן ואת כל נפתלי ואת ארץ אפרים ומנשה ואת כל ארץ יהודה עד היום האחרון ואת הנגב ואת הכיכר בקעת יריחו עיר התמרים עד צוהר. ויאמר אדוני אליו זאת הארץ אשר נשבעתי לאברהם ליצחק ויעקב לאמור לזרעך איננה הראיתיך בעיניך ושמה לא תעבור. ויעמוד שם משה בית אדוני בארץ מואב על פי אדוני ויקבר אותו בגיא בארץ מואב מול בית פאור ולא ידע איש את קבורתו עד היום הזה. ומשה ב120 שנה במותו לא כהתה עיניו ולא נס לכו. ויבכו בני ישראל משה בערבות מואב 30 יום ויתמו ימי בכי אל משה ויהושע בנו מלא רוח חוכמה כי סמך משה את ידיו עליו. וישמעו אליו בני ישראל ויעשו כאשר ציווה אדוני את משה ולא קם נביאו בישראל כמשה אשר ידעו אדוני פנים על פנים לכל האותות והמופתים אשר שלחו אדוני לעשות בארץ מצרים לפרעה ולכל עבדיו ולכל ארצו ולכל היד החזקה ולכל המורא הגדול אשר עשה משה לעיני כל ישראל.
חזק חזק
חזק חזק ונתחזק.
Yasher Koach. And now Breshit.
Bereshit bara Elohim et hashamayim ve'et haaretz. V'haaretz hayita tohu vavohu v'choshech al pnei tehum. V'ruach Elohim merachefet al pnei hamayim. Vayomer Elohim yihi or vayhi or. Vayar Elohim et haor ki tov. Vayavdel Elohim bein haor uvein hachoshech. Vayikra Elohim leor. Is that Yom?
Leor Yom. Yep.
Yom lechoshech kara laila. Vayhi erev vayhi voker yom echad.
Yasher Koach. All right. Yom Echad. And now for the blessing after the reading of Torah. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam natan b'tzofenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah. Amen. Yasher Koach. All right. So now we're going to have a community moment. We will be continuing in shortly with our Yis. We're going to put the Torahs back in the ark and continue with our Yizkor service. We're going to need a moment to re-roll the Torahs. John, will you go up to the ark or the lectern, and there are 2 Torah covers up there. Could you bring those down? Can't miss them. Okay. And so we want Bereshit to stay. We want to roll 2 Bereshit. We're going to start there. So we're going to come this way.
It shouldn't be as stressful as it is, but it is. Oh, like this. We're gonna bring, well, we're gonna roll at this edge.
It needs to be rewound from the middle part. So what we could do is put it away for now and then we can fix it later.
Bring that this way.
Keep tipping towards you real quick. Thank you. Perfect. All right, you had to come in. Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Okay. Are you coming? Come in. The philanthropy.
I didn't go to
No, I went. I picked my Good. Okay. Well, there's 2 yards. 2 yards means Genesis. I'm telling myself that. That's
you make them up as you go along.
no, that's my that's no, that's me. That's just me.
Trade secrets.
Okay. Would you carry this back for us? Okay. So we're gonna.
What do you want?
Okay.
Smiling into the mess.
Okay, we're gonna we'll go together. All right, you may be seated. Keep them safe. Thank you. Thank you.
Are you keeping up?
Sure, why not?
Okay.
Thank you, Dave.
That's all right. Thank you. You may be seated. And now we will continue with an important custom in our tradition. It's something, it's in our tradition here at Achdut V'Shalom, but it is also in our Jewish tradition. And on the festive holiday of Simchat Torah, we take time intentionally to remember. And we will continue with the Yizkor service. You can turn, if you would, to page 575. Page 575. And I'm struck by how, as we, tonight I mentioned earlier cycles, so cycle of weather, cycle of Torah, and we we all experienced the completion of the cycle of reading the Torah as Pam read from Devarim, the last words of Deuteronomy. And then without ceasing, we recognized the moment, but then we continued right on with the beginning of Torah as Andrew read from the book of Genesis. And just as the cycle of Torah represents an ending and a beginning, just like night comes before morning,
When we have Yizkor, when we have remembrance, we are remembering the cycle of life. The ending, we wouldn't be remembering if there wasn't an ending, if you follow me. We're remembering those who are no longer with us. But it also is something that we do to begin again, to find ourselves in a new place in our memory of that person, whether they are someone we have lost recently or very long ago. So the cycle of life just so strikingly parallels the cycle of Torah when we experience both of them together on Yizkor. So on page 575, let us read together. Birth is a beginning and death a destination, and life is a journey from childhood to maturity and youth to age, from innocence to awareness and ignorance to knowing, from foolishness to discretion and then perhaps to wisdom, from weakness to strength or strength to weakness, and often back again, from health to sickness and back, we pray, to health again, from offense to forgiveness, from loneliness to love, from joy to gratitude, from pain to compassion and grief to understanding, from fear to faith, from defeat to defeat to defeat, until looking backward or ahead, we see that victory lies not at some high place along the way, but in having made the journey stage by stage, a sacred pilgrimage. Birth is a beginning and death a destination, but life is a journey from birth to death to life everlasting. Let us turn the page. And let us read together at the bottom of the page the words of Psalm 23, a psalm of David. Adonai is my shepherd, I lack nothing. God makes me lie down in green pastures. God leads me to water in places of repose. God renews my life. God guides me in right paths as befits God's name. Though I walk through a valley of deepest darkness, I fear no harm, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You spread a table for me in full view of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil. My drink is abundant. Only goodness and steadfast love shall pursue me all the days of my life, as I shall dwell in the house of Adonai for many long years. Let us continue at the bottom of the next page. Esa enai el haharim, me'ayin yavo Ezri me'im Adonai oseh hashamayim va'aretz. Together, I turn my eyes to the mountains. From where will my help come? My help comes from Adonai, maker of heaven and earth. God will not let your foot give way. Your guardian will not slumber. See, the guardian of Israel neither slumbers nor sleeps. Adonai is your guardian. Adonai is your protection at your right hand. By day the sun will not strike you, nor the moon by night. Adonai will guard you from all harm. God will guard your life. Adonai will guard your going and coming now and forever. Let us turn the page. Shivti Adonai, lenegdi tamid. Let us read together. I am ever mindful of Adonai's presence. God is at my right hand. I shall never be shaken. So my heart rejoices, my whole being exults, and my body rests secure. For you will not abandon me to Sheol, or let your faithful one see the pit. You will teach me the path of life. In your presence is perfect joy. Delights are ever in your right hand. On the next page, 580, we find two prayers entitled Yizkor Elohim. When we talk about Yizkor, this is the prayer. And what I would like to invite each of you to do, we'll take a moment for you to think about those who you are remembering tonight, those whose absence reflects leaves an empty spot at your table, in your heart, but not in your memories. Think of those who you are feeling especially close to on this night. And when you are ready, when you have said their names, imagined their faces, remembered the sounds of their voice, when you have done that, then read the prayer at the top of the page. Take in each word. We'll have some time for silent reflection and prayer. Eternal rest, may he be at one with all his life is eternal. May the shine forevermore. May my life always be good. I don't know who it was. I don't want to claim these words as my own. So someone said them and they stay with me. But death does not represent the end of a relationship for those we love. It represents a transition. The relationship continues. It moves inward. It stays with us in moments like this and in moments of anniversary, of times where we remember their presence with us, but they remain a part of us, even though their presence with us is no longer. We have had a moment to remember those to whom we have personal relationship, who are gone, who are no longer with us. I'd like us now to pray for those as a community who perhaps have no one to remember them, or perhaps those who have died for their faith and for the defense of the Jewish people. Let us read together in English at the bottom of the page. May God remember forever our brothers and sisters of the house of Israel who gave their lives for the sanctification of the divine name. May they be at one with the one whose life is eternal. May the beauty of their lives shine forevermore, and may my life always bring honor and glory to their memory. And now, as is our custom, we will continue with the prayer El Malei Rachamim. I invite you now to please rise as you are able. Malei Rachamim, Shochen Baromim. המסה מנוחה נכונה תחת כנפי השכינה. עם קדושים וטהורים כזוהר הרקיע מזהירים לנשמת יקירינו שהלכו לעולמם. בעל הרחמים יסתירם בסתר כנפיו לעולמים, ויצרור בצרור החיים את נשמתם. אדוני הוא נחלתם, וינחנו בשלום על משכבם. ונאמר אמן. We remain standing, and let us continue on page 586 with the words of Aleinu, page 586.
שלא עשנו פגועי הארצות, ולא שמענו כמשפחות האדמה. שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל הנורנם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו
Our service continues on page 598. And now, as we remember those who are no longer with us, we will remember those in our community who either recently or in this season in years past have died. I'm going to read our communal list, and when I come to the end, I invite you to share the names of anyone who you are thinking of tonight, who you are remembering. On this Simchat Torah night, we continue the period of Shana, the death within the past year of Ron Subik, Harold Prigozhin, Sarah Lee Levin, Marilyn Salin, Marvin Krell, Jack Rosenberg, Leah Batmanasha Vabaila, Kathy Jarvis, James Lieb, Norman Snow, Paul Schwartz Jr., Joan Kramer, Carol Friedman. Tonight is the yahrzeit, this week is the yahrzeit, the anniversary of death of Jack Berger, Isidore Besser, Israel L. Bronstein, Betty Desmond, Martin Dicker, Evelyn Feldman, Dr. Abraham Fichman, Dorothy Marks Fiedler, Nathan Fine, Charles Fine, Bernard Frankenstein, Ivan Franks, Joellen Frederick, Gladys Friedman, Iva Gordon Tudor, Carl Hesslein, Arnold Hirschberg, Fanny Katz Kaplan, Harry Commissaro, Caroline Leopold, Herman Levin, Anna Levin, Claudia H. Levine, Morris Magazine, Oscar Mastbaum, Mary McIntyre, Milton Mendelblatt, Libby Mull, R.J. O'Neill, Nate Pollock, Jean J. Ponal, Dr. Bernard Ress, Namuel Roseman, Mark Rubin, Lona Ruchman, Abby Sachs, Herman Schubert, Melvin Schulkin, Louis Snow, Samuel L. Sposip, Daniel Stute, Harry Turansky, Sonia Turetsky, Harry Wagner, Rose Steiber Weinrob, Muriel Yentis, Abraham Zimmerman. And to these names we remember tonight. Dennis Bargeron, Bortam. Let us pray together the words of Kaddish Yatom, the Mourner's Kaddish, which you'll find on page 598. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, be'alma divra cherotei ve'amlik malchutei, v'chayachon v'yomachon v'chayeh dekol beit Israel, bagalav v'izman kari v'imru amen. Yehi shmei Rabbah mavarach le'olam ulmei almaya, yitbarach v'ishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitnoram v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar v'yitalev v'yitalal shemei dekudesha barichu, le'ela min kol birchata v'yirshirata, tush bechata v'nechamata damiran be'elma v'imru amen. Yehi shlama Rabbah min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. You may be seated. Hag Sameach, everyone. We have come to, sadly, to the end of this holiday season, but we can embrace this last day through tomorrow, through to sunset tomorrow for Simchat Torah. And I hope that you were able to identify something that you learned this year that is going to carry you forward in your own Torah, your own the unfolding of your own story, and that we had an opportunity to engage in memory and perhaps to have just a moment of connection with those who we remember so dearly. And we will now close with a closing song that actually says Greenberg's Choice. So I don't know what's going to happen next, but I know it's going to be fantastic.
Ein Adir, page 632.
632.
Ein Adir Kadonai, Ve'en Baruch Kiven Amram, Ein Gedola Katorah, Ve'en Dashanecha Yisrael, Mipiel, Yivarech Kol Yisrael, Mipiel, Yivorach Kol Yisrael. Ein Hadur Kadonai, Ve'en Va'adik Kiven Amram, Ve'en Zachar Katorah, Ve'en Chachamecha Yisrael, Mipiel, Yivorach Kol Yisrael, Mipiel, Yivorach Kol Yisrael. Ein Tahor Kadonai, Ve'en Yachid Kiven Amram, Ein Kabira Katorah, Ve'en Lamanecha Yisrael, Mipiel, Yivarach Kol Yisrael, Mipiel, Yivorach Kol Yisrael. Ein Bodek Adonai, Ve'en Tzadik Kiven Amram, Ein Kedusha HaTorah, v'yein tomahecha lo Yisrael, mipiel, mipiel, yivarach kol Yisrael, mipiel, mipiel, yivarach kol Yisrael.
Thank you very much, Ronnie and
Chag
Norm
Sameach.
Greenberg. Thank you so much, Pam and Andrew, for reading Torah so beautifully. And Chag Sameach.